equal halves, right? Two new nucleus are formed in this case. Finally, what will happen? The cytoplasm will also completely split into two halves. And then here you will see that you have at the end two daughter cells. Is that clear? Also, binary means two, fission means splitting. So since the cell is splitting into two daughter cells, like so from there also you can understand this why it is called as binary fission. You guys getting this or not? So here a single organism is split into two halves, right? Okay. Furthermore, the daughter cells are going to be identical to their parents. They will be twin of each other and also will be identical to their parents because both of them have received the same kind of DNA from their parents. Both of them receives the same kind of DNA from their parents, right? Because the parent is same here. Like if they were to be if they were to be another mate, here there's only single parent. If there were to be two parents, like they were to be another amoeba, say for example, if amoeba A and amoeba B, if they were to fuse, like if they were to have sex cells, although they don't have sex cells, but if they were to have sex cells, so then their sex cells would have fused together. So there you would see that their genetic materials would be meeting, their genetic materials would be mixing. So in that case, you will not be having twin daughter cells. Getting it now? But since we have just one single parent, so it is going to split into two halves. So both of the kids of this parent will have same kind of DNA. Okay. Hope it is clear. And this will be observed in both the prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms, right now. Like it is observed in the case of bacteria, some kind of protozoans like this amoeba, and some eukaryotic organisms also. There also it is observed, right? Like this binary fission, right now, it is happening inside our body also. You guys getting it? Also, one more thing I did told you guys in the previous class, like this kind of cell division, where parent organism splits into two daughter cells. It is done by the type of cell division that is called as mitosis. Here, by the animation, you can understand it better. Have a look at the two animations. Both of them are of the same thing, that is of mitosis. So what do you guys observe here? Please let me know. Look at the animation. You guys, yes,
Sir,
Philip.
your voice is not clear.
Yes. My voice is not coming clearly.
Yes, sir.
Is that problem with this?
So your voice is breaking.
Corey, my voice is breaking.
Yes, sir.
Just hold on. Just hold on for a minute. Give me a minute. Yes, hello. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yes, sir. Now it's clear.
I'm Uh, Alif, Chikrika, Gauri, and Tisha. Am I audible, guys? Can you hear?
No, like sir. Sometimes breaking.
Break.
We can't really hear you properly all the time, so
Okay, maybe I'm start with question. Hold on. Please confirm if I'm audible now.
Yes.
Now I'm audible? Okay,
yes,
thank
sir,
you.
now
Yes,
you
sir.
are.
Okay, hope I'm audible to everyone. So we will learn about the mitosis. Right? So moments ago we were learning about binary fission right now. So there what I was explaining that some of the organisms would be doing asexual reproduction, right? And the parent cell will simply split into two equal halves, like the one that you can see over here, right? And this type of cell division is called as mitosis, right? This happens in our body also. Do one thing, Gauri, read the given paragraph. Read this one. Read this given paragraph.
Sir, which one?
Read the given paragraph over. This one over, the one where I'm pointing.
Sir, okay. A mitosis is a process where a single cell divides into two identical daughter cells. Mitosis is observed in almost all the body cells, including eyes, skin, hair, and muscle cells.
Okay. Now. So few moments ago, we were learning that this happens in the case of amoeba as well. And here we are seeing that this mitosis cell division happens in our body also, like in the body cells like eyes, skin, hair, and muscle cells. There also it will be happening. Getting this now. So we observed it there also. And all the blood cells, all the skin cells, all of them are identical to each other. All of them are identical to each other. Okay. So that is mitosis. Okay. Since we are already talking about cell division, so let us complete the meiosis also. Chakrika, read the given paragraph.
Yes, sir. Meiosis is the process in which a single cell divides twice to form four haploid daughter cells. These cells are the gametes, sperms in males and egg in females. Meiosis in this type of cell division, sperm or egg cells are produced instead of identical daughter cells, as in mitosis.
Okay. So here in the case of meiosis, what we're seeing over here, like the one parent cell is dividing two times. One, it has divided here for the first time. It has divided over here where two daughter cells are formed. For the second time, it will be dividing again. It will be dividing for the second time also. Then it will finally, you will be getting four daughter cells. You'll be having four daughter cells. Also, you guys look at this animation. Okay, look at this animation when it will be starting. When I will say at that time, start observing now. Observe this over here. So the nucleus is splitting now. Now the cell has split it into two halves, like this stage. Once again, it is going to split. Now look at this. Now these two cells, once again is splits to form how many daughter cells? You have four daughter cells. So that much is clear to everyone or not? Please let me know.
Yes, sir.
So here what we are seeing that, yes.
So the difference between meiosis and mitosis is only the number of cells? Oh,
Yeah, that is one difference. But there's one more difference. The number of chromosomes in meiosis is halved. Like if
yes.
the parent cell has 46 chromosomes, let us take the example of human body, for example. So if this has 46 chromosomes, so the daughter cells would be having only 23 chromosomes in them, like this: 23, 23, 23, and 23, like this. But in the case of mitosis, what happens if this has, let's say 50 chromosomes? So the daughter cells will also have 50 chromosomes, same number of chromosomes. So since they have same number of chromosomes, that's why they are genetically identical to each other. Got this now? Say same number of chromosomes are found in them. But here in the case of meiosis, what we are seeing that also, like here in the case of mitosis, a single parent has split into two daughter cells, and here a single parent has split two times to get four daughter cells. Got this? Also, the number of chromosomes are halved, and this is observed in the case of gametes, that is sex cells only, that is the sperms and egg cells. And if you guys can recall the sperm cells and egg cells, I did told you that these are haploid cells. The number of chromosomes in them are half. Yes,
Yes.
right now. So we did learn about this thing in the previous classes. If you guys can recall this, where did I told you that the haploid cells have 23 chromosomes? Both the female and the male sex cells are haploid in nature. And how are they formed? Via mitosis or meiosis?
So
Mhm.
can you repeat the question?
You're always saying that the sperm cells and egg cells, they are formed via mitosis or meiosis? They are formed via
So meiosis?
meiosis, exactly. Right now. So let me just quickly summarize some of the difference between mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis, as you can see in this image, in this animation over here, that the single cell simply splits into two halves, and both the cells will be genetically identical to each other. Okay, that is the main thing about mitosis, right? And the examples of mitosis is seen in the case of amoeba. It is seen in the cells of skin cells. In the case of human body, skin cells, hair cells, muscle cells, etc. So all the cells of the body would be doing mitosis except for the sperms and ovums. They will be going through meiosis. Now in meiosis, what happens? The single cell, the single parent will split into four daughter cells, as opposed to the case of mitosis, where the single parent was splitting into just two daughter cells. Also, here the number of chromosomes would be half. You don't need to go into that much of depth, because that thing you will be studying in class 9th standard. So let's not go. Let's not talk about the number of chromosomes getting halved. Otherwise, you'd be getting confused. Just know that the single parent would split into four equal halves. Okay, now, and only the sperm cells and egg cells would be going through meiosis. So is that much clear to everyone? Please let me know.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I have a doubt.
Yes.
So in mitosis, it is said that the process, it basically divides into two identical cells, right?
Yeah.
Into two identical daughter cells. So one of the daughter includes the cell which has been divided from it, right?
No, it's not like one of them contains the cells from which it has been divided. No, both of them
No,
were
sorry.
once
One
joined
of
together.
them is.
One of them is.
So basically, it is divided from a single cell. So basically, one of them will be the cell, right, which is the other part, which the other part has been divided from.
No, we don't look at it in that way actually, Chiktika. Because what happens now, like this cell over here, this cell over here. So some portion of it, like some portion of it, while it will be dividing, some portion will go towards this side, some portion will go towards this side. So it is in that manner. Okay. Now. It wouldn't be appropriate to say that one of them is actually the old parent cell, and from this another one is split. Basically, the whole cell has a split into two halves. Can you look at it in that manner? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So hope you are what I'm okay. No? Okay.
Yes.
Furthermore, we have one more aspect of production that's seen of this plan. So for you guys to pay attention to the animation over. Look at
So your voice is breaking.
the given. Yeah, say look at the given animation. So what you hear, these are the all six freshwater planets, also called planaria. Am I audible to you?
Sir, it is breaking.
Uh, it's breaking. One thing, I'll read the given paragraph.
Sir, now clear.
Mm-hmm. Okay, please read the given paragraph once.
Asexual freshwater planarids reproduce by tearing themselves into two pieces by a process called binary fission. The resulting head and tail pieces generate within about a week, forming two new worms.
Okay. So this planaria, sometimes also called as flatworms. So what happens in this case? Like this original parent has split into two halves. As you can see in this second animation, it has split into two, or sometimes it can split into more than two halves also, right? And what do we observe here? That each part starts to grow into organisms. Like this, for example, the head of the planaria, it has detached from the main parent, and further it will grow and it will become a new planaria. Basically, they have kind of regenerative cells found in their body, the cells regenerate, which can regenerate. Even a new planaria can be born from the tail of a planaria. So if somehow they were to cut, or if they were to simply split into two halves via binary fission, so then what will happen now? Further, the each part of the planaria will grow into a new organism. So that is the case of regeneration that we see in the case of planaria. That is regeneration. Okay, now so here the complete body of the organism, right now it is developing from its fragments. First it will split into tiny fragments, and from the fragments it will the cells of those fragments will start to multiply. It will be kind of like this. For example, this is a tail cell, so this will have regenerative cells in it. So cells to grow like this. Getting it what I'm trying to say? And a whole new planaria will be formed from just a fraction of the body. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Can guys, is there some background noise from my side? Hello.
No,
Okay. If there's any, please pardon me for that. I'm actually not at home. Okay. We see in the case of lizards also, many times we see that if their tails are cut, so that they can grow a new tail. But that we consider as regeneration. So we will say that only their tails are regenerative in nature. They can regenerate their tails only, but not the whole body. Getting this now?
It's the same for
Yes.
earthworms also, right?
For earthworms,
Yes, sir.
regeneration earthworms. We'll have to look at it. I mean to say, like, do earthworm? I normally haven't seen like they can also grow the body part. Like, can grow into complete new organism. they can regenerate some of the segments, I think. Like if they were to be, if you have an earthworm and if you were to cut some part of it, so I think, yeah, they also can regenerate. Okay, no? Yeah, they can also regenerate. But like if there are some important parts in their body, okay, no? But if that important part found in their body were to be cut down, then they will not be able to regenerate. For example, when you look at an earthworm, they would be having a thick part like this in their body. If you look close enough, so there would be thick part in their body like this. Okay, no? So if we were to cut this part, then they might not be able to regenerate. Okay. So regeneration will be observed in the case of planaria, where planaria can regenerate completely new organism. It will be observed in the case of lizards also, but lizards cannot regenerate completely. They can only regenerate their tails. Further, as Chikrika was mentioning, yeah, in the case of earthworms also, we do observe this thing actually. Okay, na? In fact, accidentally, what happens since it's today, like it's monsoon in India. Uh, in fact, I did observe this few days ago. Like, accidentally, I happened to accidentally what happened. No? The tail of an earthworm was cut by me accidentally, and I did observe that even after that, the earthworm was able to move, and in fact, it had felt like that it didn't had significant impact on the earthworm. Yeah, they can also kind of regenerate themselves.
Yes.
Okay. Now there's one more important concept which we're going to learn about, that is parthenogenesis. Okay. So in the case of parthenogenesis, what happens? This is another example of a asexual reproduction. Okay. Or we see that it's a natural form of asexual reproduction, whereby what would happen, the without even fertilizing the egg can develop into an embryo. The egg will grow into an embryo even without fertilization with a sperm. Getting it? What happens in the case of parthenogenesis? Yeah. So it's kind of a natural form of asexual reproduction in which the growth and development of the embryo would occur directly from the egg without the egg being fertilized. Is that much clear so far?
No, sir, I don't get it.
Not getting it. See, normally, guys, what happens for the development of an embryo, like for the development of a human baby, for example, the ovum needs to be fertilized, isn't it? That is the first criteria. This ovum has to be fertilized with the sperm. Then only the baby will be developing, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. But in some organisms, like the one that you see. Hello, guys, am I audible? Chakrika, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Right now you are.
Okay. So what I was saying moments ago, that in the case of humans, ovums would further grow into an embryo and further into fetus. It will happen only when the sperm would fertilize the ovum, right? That is what happens in the case of humans. That is how reproduction takes place in humans, isn't it? Just answer yes or no.
Yes, sir.
So,
But in some of the organisms, like this Komodo dragon, for example, this water flea or bonnet head shark, for example, in these organisms, even without the fusion of sperm with the egg, even without fertilization of egg, the egg can grow into an embryo. That embryo will further grow into a new organism, into fetus. Getting this? So that is called as parthenogenesis. That is called as parthenogenesis, which is another example of a asexual reproduction where the female organisms are capable of reproducing eggs without fertilization. These eggs would be developing into a new organism, right? And it can be observed in some fishes like some sharks, some birds, reptiles like lizards, and few insects also. However, it cannot be seen in the case of mammals. Now, as I was saying in the beginning, that it's a natural process. This is a natural asexual reproduction. Huh? Although there are some other types of asexual reproduction also, but here it's a natural asexual reproduction whereby like temperature can induce parthenogenesis. Temperature will be one of the factors. For example, in some organisms, parthenogenesis will be happening. The egg would be developing into an embryo if the temperature is transferred from -30 is transferred from -30 to -10 degrees Celsius. Getting it, guys? Or it would be caused by ultraviolet light. So ultraviolet light will also influence the development of egg into an embryo in some of the organisms. Okay, even it will cause parthenogenesis. You guys getting it? What I'm trying to say?
Sir, can you explain one more time?
Yes. Yeah, sure. So parthenogenesis, I was saying that it's a kind of asexual reproduction where the females can reproduce even without the need of a male organism to mate with. Like the fertilization of the egg is necessary for the development. But in the case of most of the mammals, like in the case of a human being, the fertilization of ovum is necessary. Only when the ovum would be fertilized, it will convert into a zygote, and then it will convert into an embryo and then into a fetus. Isn't that the case, guys? But in some of the organisms, like for example, dragon, if without the fertilization egg, the egg can develop into an embryo. It can first it will convert into zygote and then further grow into an embryo and then fetus. So that is the whole basis of parthenogenesis, where a male parent is not required, where the sex cells of the male parent is not required for fertilization of the egg. Egg will directly convert into zygote and then into embryo. Hope you guys are able to grasp the concept. It's not that difficult if you were to observe it. Yes, Gauri, Khadija, Chakrika, and Arif, you guys getting it?
Yes, sir.
Everyone got it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in simple terms, in one line, I would conclude this topic like it's a reproduction without fertilization. What can we say that it's a 1 minute, my pen stops working. So it's a reproduction without fertilization. As simple as that. Right? So we have basically finished the chapter. If you guys have any doubts from the chapter, please let me know.
No doubt, sir.
Okay. Anyone has any doubt, please let me know.
So
Okay.
can we go to the chapter?
So
and
here
see?
we have. Yeah, sure. Okay. Now. So let us go through the chapter once. That would be in fact very good. So in the beginning of the chapter, we did learn about what is reproduction and why is it required? What is its necessity? We were learning about that. Then we did learn about modes of reproduction. What are the different modes of reproduction? Namely sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. In sexual mode of reproduction, we did learn about the male and female reproductive organs, what are their functions, and we did also learn about the male and female sex hormones, right? Then we did learn about concepts like menstrual cycle, right? gametogenesis, fertilization, events of fertilization. Yeah. We did learn about pre-fertilization event where the formation of male and female sex cells would be taking place. We did learn about fertilization and post-fertilization. Also, we did learn about IVF, that is in vitro fertilization. In this manner, the fertilization of ovum takes place outside the body of the female, and the babies born in this manner are called as test tube babies. We did learn about development of embryo metamorphosis. We did learn about two types of cell division, namely mitosis and meiosis. And in the last, we learned about a very interesting concept called as parthenogenesis. So let us quickly go through the chapters, the different topics which we have learned. So in the beginning, yes.
So can you explain about the seminal vesicle again?
Repeat which one?
The seminal vesicle.
Okay, seminal vesicle. Yeah, sure.
Yes,
Let us go to that diagram.
So we can do that after we're done go through the chapter.
Okay, that would be better. In fact, okay, no. So see, in the beginning, we learned about reproduction. It's a biological process by which every organism that you see on Earth, it would be doing reproduction. There isn't even a there is rarely a organism that does not does a reproduction. Okay. So apart from reproduction, we see that several processes like blood circulation, digestion of the food, or respiration, all of them are crucial for the survival of the human beings and other animals too. But reproduction is essential in order to maintain the continuity of a given system, so that it does not become challenges maintained in the nature. Also, if an organism does not does reproduction, it will not harm the survival of that organism, but it will be harming the continuity of a species of that organism. Okay. Then we were learning about modes of reproduction. These are the following modes of reproduction: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Getting it? Then in the case of sexual reproduction, we started learning this, and here we did learn that this reproduction will be beginning with the fusion of male and female gametes, right? Where first of all the egg cells, that is ovum, and the sperm cells, right now, that would be first of all produced in the body of the male and female humans once they would be reaching the age of puberty, right? Also, we did learn about the characteristics of these two kind of cells, like they contain just the half number of chromosomes right now. Also, these cells would be produced via mitosis or meiosis.
So can you repeat the question?
The question is, ovum and sperm are produced via mitosis or via meiosis?
Meiosis.
Meiosis, very good. Okay. Furthermore, in asexual reproduction, I just gave you guys a small brief of the topic in this slide. Okay, no? So let's continue with sexual reproduction first of all. So we learned that sexual reproduction would be divided into mainly three stages. First of all, for the fusion of egg and sperm to take place, it is important that first of all they are produced and they are mature. So first of all, we talk about pre-fertilization event, where inside the male and female body, the production of the male and gamete cells takes place, namely in their reproductive organ. And the process by which the formation of these sex cells takes place, that is called as gametogenesis. Right, we did learn about that. Then in the next event, once the male and female parents are mature enough, right, they are mature, and when they go through the fertilization, like when fertilization takes place, so thereby the mature sperm cells would be fertilizing the mature egg cells, right? And that would further lead to formation of a zygote. So that we talk about when post-fertilization event. Post means after. So after fertilization has taken place, so that zygote would further now grow into embryo, further than it grow into a fetus, like that. There in the development of the embryo, we had learned that it would be happening in falling stages. Like as you can see in this image. So this is the fertilized egg. Then the cells divides. the cells keeps on dividing. Also, can you guys tell me this type of division that is taking place in their body, where you see that different organs, different tissues are growing, mainly that cell division is mitosis or meiosis?
Mitosis.
Mitosis, very good. Okay, so now you guys have got the concept of mitosis and meiosis. Very good. So we will say that all their body parts via mitosis would be growing in this manner. First, this zygote would convert into 2-cell stage, then 4, 8, like this. Okay. And this will continue to multiply until it forms a ball-like structure, right? And that ball-like structure will embed itself into the wall of the uterus, and from there it will reach all the nourishment. Furthermore, when it is about 4 or 6 weeks, then at that time we see that its body parts are identifiable, then it will be called as fetus. Okay. So all that are the post-fertilization event once the fertilization has taken place. So far. Then we were learning about the male reproductive organs. So we did learn that it contains a pair of testes, a pair of sperm ducts, and a penis. Testes would be located outside the male body. It is stored in a bag-like structure or a sac-like structure called as scrotum, right? And sperms would be produced inside the testes, and sperms are basically the male gamete or male sex cells. Talking about the male reproductive organs, we did learn about the functions of different organs, different parts of the male sex cells, male reproductive organ. There we did learn about the penis, that it's a cylindrical shaped organ that has a small opening at its top. From this opening, the semen would be released into the vagina, right? Also, it is the same pathway through which urine is also released. Okay. We did learn about the function of scrotum. One of you please tell me what was the function of scrotum? Anyone? I suppose I'm still audible.
Yes, sir.
Mhm. One of you please quickly mention the function of scrotum. Okay, after the class, make sure that you go through this concept and revise one sharing the PPT. Yes.
So it keeps the temperature like above the body temperature, sorry, below the body temperature.
Mhm. And
To
basically
produce sperm.
not produces the sperm. Basically, it holds the testicles. Testicles are present in this organ. Okay, no? And the scrotum would be providing the testicles the right temperature. It provides it the right temperature. Okay. Okay. Then we did learn about the testes, that it is the like most of the males have a pair of testes, right? Testes also called as testicles, right? Okay. And their main function is to form sperms. And they also generate the male sex hormone, that is testosterone. One interesting thing we did learned about testosterone, that in the male body it is produced, also it is produced in the female body also, but it is immediately converted into estrogen, right? Also, there's a big difference in the quantity of testosterone secreted in male and female body, as you can see in this animation. Okay. Then talking about another organ, another structure, that is urethra. So urethra, it's a tube-like structure that you can see over here that allows the flow of semen into it. And that semen, as you guys know, would be containing sperms and all other secretions from the seminal vesicle and the prostate gland. Okay. Then talking about the vas deferens. So what did we learn about vas deferens? That it's a tube that would be carrying the sperms from the testis into the urethra. Got this now? That is the function of vas deferens, to carry sperms from testis to the urethra. Then we have another gland situated right beneath the urinary bladder that is called as prostate gland. And this gland secretes a prostate fluid, which would kind of make about 1/3 of the content of the semen. 1/3 of semen is basically made up of prostate glands, prostate fluid basically. And this prostate fluid would be rich in different kind of enzymes, in citric acid and zinc. That was the function of prostate gland. Okay, then we had seminal vesicles, right? So seminal vesicles kind of looks like they have a pouch-like structure. Okay, they are located right above the prostate gland, as you can see over here. Okay, and the seminal vesicles. One more important thing about them is that they would be they are connected with the vas deferens. So they are connected with the vas deferens. Okay. Also, seminal vesicles, their main function is to secrete a fluid that would be providing kind of nourishment to the sperms. Right now. So seminal vesicles, we had learned about this. A pouch-like structure located just above the prostate gland. And they would secrete a fluid that would be rich in fructose, protein, enzyme, or mucus right now. And that would be providing nourishment to the sperms. So these things we did learn about that. Then we did learn about testosterone. So following were the functions of the testosterone that it would be responsible for enlargement of. Yes.
So can you go to the previous slide once if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. This one. So talking about the male sex, yeah. So talking about the male sex hormone, that is testosterone, right now. So this would be produced by the testes, and how much it would be produced, the amount would be controlled by the pituitary gland located in your brain. Pituitary gland, that is also called as master of all glands. This is called as master gland. So how much testosterone will be released, how much it will be produced, that will be controlled by pituitary gland. Okay, but produced by testes. These were the following functions: body hair, increase of muscle mass, change in voice, helps in sperm production, etc. These were the functions of testes. Also, an important function I did told you that it signals the body to produce the red blood cells. So far, I hope you guys have understood. Okay. Then we did learn about the sperm cell, where we learned that it's the male sex cell, and each testis would be secreting millions of sperm cells, right? The structure is divided into three parts, namely head, midpiece, and tail. The head contains nucleus, and nucleus would be containing DNA, right? And when fertilization takes place, it is this head that goes inside the ovum, and the nucleus, which contains DNA. So the DNA of the sperm would be combining with the DNA of ovum. So this would basically enter into the ovum, and the rest, that is the middle piece, and the tail is left behind. That is the middle piece and the tail that does not enters inside the ovum. This is the ovum. This is the nucleus of ovum, and this is the nucleus of sperms. So once fertilization takes place, it is actually the fusion of the nucleus of sperm and ovum taking place. Hope you guys have understood that thing also. In fact, I had told you in the class. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
And middle piece contains mitochondria, that is also the powerhouse of the cell. So it would be providing energy for the sperms to move. Okay. Just like a fish has a tail that helps it to move, in similar manner, this cell would be propelling it forward in the forward direction, helping it to move in the forward direction. So we did learn about that. Okay. Then talking about the female reproductive organ, we did learn that the female reproductive have following important parts. We did learn about ovaries. There's a pair of ovaries found in the reproductive system of females. And they are the main sex organ present in their body that would be secreting two things: first thing, that is ovum, and they would also be responsible for production of female hormones, right now, like estrogen and progesterone. So we learned about ovaries. It's the main female reproductive organ. It's present in number of two, and its function is to produce ova or ovum. Okay. And the ova or ovum will not be released by ovary until it will be mature. Like this will contain millions of ovums. Till the birth of the female child, the ovum would be present in it in millions. But at that time, it is not mature. So it is only when the females reach the age of puberty, the ovums become mature and its secretion will start to take place. So each month, via from one of the ovary, a mature ovum would be released into the fallopian tube. Getting it now? This structure, that is fallopian tube, we did learn about this also. What is another name for fallopian tube? Yes,
Sir, oviduct.
oviduct. Very good. Okay. And we did learn about uterus also. So uterus, it's a this structure that you see over here. So this is the structure which would allow the development of the egg into a fetus, into a human baby. So once the fertilization of zygote would have taken place inside the fertilization of egg would have taken place inside the fallopian tube, zygote would be formed, and zygote would travel into the uterus and will embed itself into the walls of the uterus. Also, we know that once the ovum would be secreted in the female body, so the walls of the uterus will become thicker, because it kind of expects that the ovum would be fertilized and zygote would be formed and zygote would be embedding in its wall. So then it will have to provide nourishment to the ovum. But in some cases, what happens? The ovum is not fertilized, but the walls were thick. Walls have thickened right now. So in that case, when the fertilization of ovum will not take place, then ovum will die, and along with ovum, the thick cells that have developed over here and the blood cells, all of them will fall from the vagina. That is called as menstrual cycle, which we have learned. Got this, now, guys? And cervix is basically the opening into the vagina. So these things we did learn about this. And here you can see that how an umbilical cord is connecting the children to its mother, and from the umbilical cord, transfer of all the useful materials, exchange of waste will be taking place between the mother and the kid. Okay. Then we were learning about menstrual cycle. So when the women would reach their puberty, then they would start to release mature eggs each month, right? And it will go through a cycle. That cycle will be called as menstrual cycle. In this, what happens? The ovaries would be releasing the eggs. That egg will go into the uterus. So if the eggs are unfertilized, so the ovum will die. Along with the ovum, the thick wall of the uterus, that will also fall off along with blood, right? And that will be kind of, its average duration would be about 28 days, right? Also, one more important thing I did told you, that the puberty would be starting at usually the age of 12 or 13, in some cases at the age of 10 or 11 also. So when they hit the first puberty, that is called as menarche. And at the age of 45 to 55, the menstrual cycle stops. That is called as menopause. So these things we did learn. Okay. So hope that was clear. If there's anyone who didn't understood this topic, please. Yes. Gauri, Chikrika, Arif, Khadija.
Yes.
That is clear to everyone? Okay. All right then. There we did learn about the fertilization right now. So in the case of fertilization, we did learn in the moments ago also I was telling you about this fertilization, right? So move on to the next topic. We learned the difference about embryo and fetus, that embryo would be formed by repeated division of the cells of zygote, and fetus it is formed by the development and growth of the embryo in its further stage. We did learn that it's the unborn baby in the early stage, fetus is the unborn baby in the later stage. The body features of embryo are not identifiable, but in the case of fetus, they are identifiable. Embryo, this stage of the unborn baby would last up to 8 weeks, and this one would last from 8 weeks till the birth takes place. The following things we did learn, and in the case of in vitro fertilization, we did learn that some of the couples are not able to naturally conceive. So in that case, what would happen? The eggs would be taken from the female body via a small incision or via a small surgery, and this will be happening by giving some ovarian stimulation hormone therapy. Some hormones would be given to them in order to stimulate the release of ovum. Then sperms would also be collected, and both of them would be fertilized in a china dish, in a laboratory dish, where once they would fertilize, the zygote would have formed, and then this zygote would be further taken in a test tube, where it would be taken care of, provided proper nourishment, and then once it has grown to a proper size, then it will be via a cannula put into the uterus. That was the process of IVF. The baby born in this via this method is also called as testis baby. The first baby to have successfully born via this method was Louis Brown. We did learn about that also. Then we did learn about internal and external fertilization. Hope this topic was clear to everyone. Basically, when the ovums would be fertilized outside the body of the female. So we did learn that in the case of frog, toads, and fishes. We're learning about internal fertilization in the case of hens also, right now. So here, basically what happens, the egg that would be fertilized, it can either be fertilized, and in some cases, even without fertilization, the egg would be released by the hen. Okay. So a thick shell of calcium carbonate develops around the egg in order to protect it. And if this is a fertilized egg, so this yolk, that is basically the embryo. If it is a fertilized egg, this will further grow and develop into a chick after 21 days. We learned about viviparous and oviparous animals, the ones that would be laying the eggs and the ones that will not be laying eggs. Okay. We have one exception to oviparous animals. There was a platypus, duck-billed platypus. Duck-billed platypus. So although this is a mammal, but it lays egg. Normally, we know that mammals like cats, dogs, humans, they do not lay eggs. But there was one exception, duck-billed platypus, which was a mammal, but it laid eggs. Okay. Then we also learned about metamorphosis, where we get to see that an organism, the form of the organism would go through several transformation in its life cycle. Okay. But that does not seem to be the case in the case of humans. Then we did learn about this budding in the case of hydra, which is an aquatic animal. We did learn about bioluminescence in the case of right? We learned about degeneration in the case of planaria, right? So these were the things. Two more important things are there. One is fragmentation. Let me just tell you. Fragmentation, in this, what will happen? For example, you have a alga called as spirogyre.